we've read the butt naked experiment or something.
So
Can
yeah,
you
the butt naked room.
the room? Yeah, sorry. Can you? Because I'm confused how they could let you stay there for 48 hours like that. Can you just explain
So
like what justifies that?
oh yeah, so okay. The inmates call it the butt naked room. I don't know what the COs call it.
Mhm.
Because we don't know what else to call it. We're butt
Yeah.
naked in a room, and it's not a room; it's a cell. So like a room is glorifying it. so um, so I had a nightmare. I had just been cleared from 2S. So 2S is a celled tier for mentally ill inmates, medical and mentally ill, but most of us were mentally ill. Pregnant women were housed on this unit as well. And so they had held me there they claimed that I was suicidal. I was there for I was on lock for two. And then they finally cleared me to go into general population because I was no longer suicidal. So when I was on general population, I had a nightmare. I was taking a nap and I had a nightmare about police officers. And I woke up and I was looking for my then boyfriend, and I realized that, oh no, I'm incarcerated, and I didn't really have anyone to talk to. All of the girls in the in the dorm were out in the common area. So I went out, I left the dorm, and I found Towson, and she was the closest. I had shared my story with most of the girls in the dorm of how I got there and things that had happened on the night of my charges. So I went up to her, and I was like, girl, I just had a nightmare about cops. And she's like, oh my gosh, she's like, are you okay? And I was like, oh, if I say anything else, I'm going to start crying, and you don't cry in prison,
Yeah.
or in jail or detention there. So I did go up. I went up. I didn't know what to do because I knew I was going to start losing my crap, and so I went up to the CO at the time that was on shift, and she was one of the few COs that I trusted, and she knew me from 2S. And so I told her, I was like, I just had a nightmare, and I don't want to get back to 2S. I need to talk to someone. And so she called down to medical, and she's like, you're going to go talk to someone, and sent me to medical. And then while I was at medical, the nurse evaluated me, asked me what happened, all that stuff, and asked me if I was suicidal. And I said, I'm not suicidal, but I just need to talk to someone. This is what happened. And then the CO that was there said that they were going to take me back to 2S, and they're going to take my uniform from me. I cried, and I have a couple rules in dealing with COs. One, you don't show them what you want because they'll use that against you. And I broke that rule that I had. I cried. I started crying, and I was like, ma'am, officer, I'm a rape victim. I don't want being naked. Please do not take my uniform from me. And she's like, oh, well, we got to do that. And I'm like, okay. I was like, you know what? I can't. I can't. I have to. I had no option.
Yeah.
And so 3 COs escorted me back to 2S, and then the CO that was on that tier at the time, and these are all females because only female COs are with females, and so the CO that was on the tier came and joined. So there were 4 COs and me. They put me into the cell, and the officer Officer Blondie, she said, okay, you got to take off your stuff. And so I took off. I had 2 shirts on because I was really cold. They were jumper shirts. So I took those 2 off, took off my pants, and I had to get everything. I had to take everything off. So I was standing there naked, and she handed me a blue smock, and she's like, hey, do you need help putting that on? And I knew as soon as I grabbed it, I knew if I put that on, I was going to kill myself because it was a dehumanizing smock. And I was like, no, I'm fine. And there was a mat. I think, yeah, there was a mat. There was a mat on the bottom bunk, and then they all left. And I used the smock as a blanket because I didn't have a blanket. And she told me, she's like, okay, she's like, yeah, we have to take your uniform, but it's only going to be for the night. In the morning, they'll come in and reevaluate you, and you should be let off in the morning. And I knew, I'm like, you know what? I was like, dude, I'm not even listening to this because they say one thing and it's not going to happen. I'm not expecting. I've learned a long time ago before my incarceration to not expect like, because that's where a lot of and like negative emotions come up when you're expecting something and then it doesn't happen. So I was there for 48 hours, and so I stood at the cell door. There was like the little window that I could see the girls on the tier, other girls that were allowed out. And I just like, to me, it was like, my hair was long, so like it came like covered down around my breasts. But I just stood there, like, I was like, this is, I can't, like, I didn't even know what to do. And one of the girls was like, put your jumper back on. And I was really angry at her. So I was like, I would love to have my jumper on right now, but they took it. Like, and then when they realized that they had taken my jumper, they were like, oh my God. Like, I had heard about the butt room from other sections of the prison, or the detention center. And I thought that the butt naked room was on a different tier. Like, you had to go somewhere and like it would be private and like whatever. And I think you can have a butt naked room anywhere in the detention center. And it was that was hard. And one of my friends, drummer boy, this was after my experience with that. It was a Sunday night, and I went to go check on her. Something told me to go check on her. She was locked in, and they had taken her uniform, and she was wearing the blue smock, and she was on all fours on the top bunk and hitting her head against the wall, and there was blood. And I ran. I was like, and she was in a cell, a locked-in cell that had cameras so that the COs can see what's going on, because that's the suicide. Like, when you're suicidal, they lock you in 24/7, and they want to keep an eye on you to make sure you're not killing yourself. And she wasn't doing anything, so I went up to her and I was like, drummer boy needs help. She needs help. And the CO was like, oh man, not on my watch. Why? I don't know what to do. And I'm like, oh my God, like, just go check on her and see, hey, there's blood. Maybe we should call medical. Like, that's like common sense.
Do your job, right?
And so she just goes and stands over there, and she's like, drummer boy, are you okay? Like, what's going on? Why are you? I'm like, dude, you have to, like, see, she's obviously not okay. Call medical. And it wasn't for 24 hours that she didn't get help.
Wow.
I cried that night. I prayed so hard for her. I was angry. I was like, oh my God. Like, and that would have been me. I knew if I had put that blue smock on, I would have done something just similar as that.
Yeah.